Okay, welcome back to Irish Red Devil podcast, and we are absolutely delighted to have on a new experience for us here tonight. We've got not just one opposition fan, but two. So I'd like to welcome Harry and Scott. Harry, well known, obviously a well known YouTuber here because when I was talking to Scott, he was aware of your name, and he said he had watched your YouTube channel. So yeah, you're very welcome. How long have you been? Tell us just a wee bit about yourself there.
Firstly, thank you very much for having me. Really looking forward to getting into it. Two top teams. It should be a great game. So I really appreciate you having me. But no, I'm Harry Scarfe. I'm a football content creator and YouTuber. I created my channel at the end of 2021, just 2 days after my 13th birthday, and I've been doing it ever since. And I've had the podcast for about a year and a half, and it's gone really well. And I've had some fantastic guests on the channel. And most recently, I had the privilege to interview former Spurs player and captain, an absolute legend as well, in Steve Perryman. That was a real good experience and a great interview. So no, the support has been absolutely incredible, and also now a football writer, autism advocate as well, someone who's autistic myself. So yeah, it's an honour to do all these things on social media, and great to be talking to you today. Really looking forward to getting into it.
Brilliant. Well, I'll just introduce you here as well, Harry. So my co-host here, we've got Gags Martial. We call him that because he's the biggest Anthony Martial fan that Manchester United fans ever had, and Killian, the football genius. So Killian's a YouTuber like yourself. And I was saying, Harry, what age are you? You 16?
Yeah, 16. Yeah, and big up to you both, by the way. Great to meet both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Killian's now not the youngest person here now. So he's been doing a YouTube. Killian's been doing his own YouTube channel there for since you were 12?
I think sort of around the same time as you, Harry, sort of a setup. Maybe a few months, maybe a year earlier. Around that time anyway.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done.
And
that makes me feel like the granddad on this podcast.
So then next up is Scott. So Scott, he says he's known as Dublinspurs. Scott, is that right?
Yep.
And member of the Dublinspurs supporters club. And guys, what I have to say first of all as well is I really appreciate you coming on, because I know a lot of Spurs fans. Okay, it's weird how many Spurs fans there are in Ireland, and I have to call them out because none of them would come on. And I don't know what it is. I honestly don't. If there was any time that a Spurs fan would come on and talk to us about Man United, it's got to be now, after beating us in the European Cup final. So I don't know. They'll obviously never come on, but I know they'll be listening to this and they'll be interested in hearing what you guys have to say. So yeah, guys, listen. Like I said, we just kind of wanted to. The way we set this up is we want to learn a wee bit about what's going on with the team we're playing that weekend, and I suppose looking from the outside. Going into this season, I would have thought that Spurs would have been flying, having won their first trophy in, what was it, 20 years or something?
A lot longer.
A lot longer, yeah. Okay.
A lot longer.
A lot longer. And, and then I've heard for years and years, Daniel Levy, get him out and see him protest, and then he's gone. And then you bring in the new manager, and he's someone that I think is quality. Like, I mean, he's obviously done great things in the Premier League already. And then, so I kind of was really surprised when I saw these Spurs videos going around of players getting booed after the Chelsea game, and kind of want to sit back now and let you guys tell us if Spurs are falling apart, and can we look forward to a bit of an easy afternoon, or early afternoon game. Harry, do you want to take us away? What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think for Spurs it's been a bit of a mixed bag in terms of start to the season, which is something I think you United fans can relate to. But I think overall it's one of progress. I think it's going to take time under Thomas Frank, because it was a good season because we won the Europa League against you guys. Sorry to bring it up, but we finished 17th in the Premier League, and right now we find ourselves 5th. If Sunderland win tonight against Everton. That is a big improvement already, and we conceded a lot less goals, keeping clean sheets. I think Frank's come in and looked at it and gone, "Look, got shut up shop." That was Tottenham's big problem. Anyone that even watched Tottenham just a little bit will know under Ange Postecoglou how open they were from set pieces, from counter attacks, goal after goal against Tottenham. That's changed instantly, and literally instantly, under Frank. But the frustration among Spurs fans is that we're not scoring goals at the moment. We've lost that attacking threat. No goals in the last even just 2 matches, and not really looking likely. And it's not the defeat against Chelsea that has prompted these boos is the fact that it was a 3-4-0 game and Tottenham somehow only lose it 1-0. That's the problem. It's a game that means a lot to the fans. We've lost in the last 4 or 5 games we played Chelsea and we didn't really test them at all. Sanchez had one save to make. And I'll give you an example. Chelsea 1-0 up at the break. Tottenham didn't have a single shot in the second half. And I don't think you'll find any other team, or many at all in the Premier League, that when they're 1-0 down in the game, even if they're a smaller team playing a bigger team, look at Burnley against Arsenal, they still managed a couple of shots in that second half. So, they can totally manage it. They can have a go at least, even if it's unlikely. So I'm still overall happy, but our performances are a bit of an issue. But football's a results-based business, and that's how Frank does it. He's sensible. He's a great coach. I think he needs time. I don't understand even the slightest people calling for his head. But Chelsea wasn't good. It was some ugly scenes at times, but I think it's about moving on, putting it behind us, and putting it right next time.
Scott, what's your thoughts?
Pretty much along the same line. I mean, we need to have some patience here. We've changed a lot of things going on at the club this summer. We've changed, the chairman's been sacked effectively. We have a new board in place. We have the same ownership family, but not the same owner, because it used to be Joe Lewis was the sole controlling person at Tottenham, but now it's Joe's family that are the controlling interest in Tottenham. And they, by what they're saying just now, is they want to come out and back Tottenham and take Tottenham further than what the old regime was willing to do. So we're going to have to be a bit patient. The fans are going to have to be patient. We had a transfer window again, which I don't feel they got that correct in the positions that they bought some players in. Like we were still screaming out for a left back. I know Jed Spence covers left back and he plays quite well, but we only have one left-sided defender, and that's Van de Ven, which in the modern day of football, you should have 2 players for every position in the Premier League, and we don't have that. So that was one of the areas where we were lacking. We done a good bit of business in bringing in Paulinho, but at home, I don't think we need to play Paulinho and Bentancur in the same match. We need to find a way to bring Sarr into the team, I think, especially at home, because the running and the energy that he gives you is it's just gold in games like that. When you're playing Chelsea, you know what Chelsea's going to do. They're a very hard team. Like when we go to play Manchester United, you're going to have to work hard to win the ball and keep the ball off of them. And having 2 6s at home, it doesn't allow you much going forward. And as Harry says, the forward lineup at the moment, they don't seem to know where the goal is, and they don't seem to know who they're looking for. So that's just going to take time, but it's a little bit of patience from everybody involved, and hopefully it changes soon.
And from a United fan point of view, haven't really watched Spurs this year, so I really don't know what to expect. I mean, whenever we were going last year, I kind of knew an Ange team went in with a bit of hope that they were going to attack, because United seem to struggle whenever teams like sit back and allow us to have possession. So what way do Spurs play? I mean, do they like to be on the front foot, or do they like to sit back? Harry, maybe? What are your thoughts there?
Well, Frank will say that he's this really attacking manager, but I look at him go, he's someone who's totally flexible, game-by-game basis, like we saw with Frank at Brentford. His team are hard to beat. At the same time, they're known for this really high-pressing team and difficult to play against. And I think maybe he's come to Tottenham and made this sacrifice to, like I said, shut up shop and almost forget a little bit about the attack. But then he made an interesting comment after the game against Chelsea, where he said this, lowest XG I've ever had managing the game. I've never had this low attacking output. I've never looked this, almost like suggesting hopeless up front, because Tottenham got a 0.05 XG against Chelsea. We could still be playing now. We could have this podcast a year's time, still be playing. We wouldn't have scored. That's the problem here. But context is vital. Maddison and Kulusevski are injured, and Tottenham are missing about 85, 86 goal contributions from last year, with Solanke out, with Maddison out, with Kulusevski out, and Son being sold. Scott's absolutely spot on with the transfer window. We didn't replace Son. I mean, you're United fans, right? You won't watch Tottenham week in, week out. But if I said to you Heung-min Son and that Tottenham didn't replace him, you'd be like, really? What's going on here? What has gone wrong? Because that is not right. You shouldn't be taking a player of his level out, even though it's probably right. I think he still is right to move him on and to go to the MLS where life's a lot easier and it suits him. But the point is, the transfer window was a big problem. You're absolutely right. But on Frank, I think he's adaptable, but Tottenham been really defensive so far. Sat in, but Scott's right. You play Palini and Bentancur together, they're really good and they're hard to score against. Even Chelsea, right? They win the game 1-0, should have won by more. We're still a difficult, in a way, though we play bad, difficult team to score against. We've got absolutely nothing going forward. So you don't have to be the greatest defensive leader. I don't think United are, but you're definitely okay going forward at the very least. So that's where Tottenham have to be sensible. They have to be clever, but Spurs fans are now calling for the handbrake to kind of come off from Thomas Frank, particularly at home, because our home record has been atrocious. We've only beat Burnley there so far this year and lost 3 games and drawn 1 on top of that. And if we go across the last 19 games at home, it's only 3 wins for Tottenham. So this home form is a bit of an issue. I personally look at it and go, Frank goes a little bit more attacking at home. And it just doesn't work. If he goes a bit attacking while keeping the same team, with Paulinho and Bentancur, he goes, you go higher, we leave these two there, and they're just holes and gaps everywhere. He's got this idea of you should play differently home and away, which is fine, but keeps the team the same, and I think the message is the same. So that gets lost. And fans, there's a lot of tension, because we go there as fans knowing our home record's awful. So every pass is scrutinised and booed and cheered, and that's just a negative atmosphere before you've even walked into the stadium. But Frank is a very sensible coach, but more defensive, I think we'll probably even see on Saturday. Definitely defensive.
What's your thoughts on Richarlison then?
Think he'd be great in a Man United shirt.
I echo that.
That says it all.
Yeah, it does. Listen, he's a nice guy and all that, and he gives 110%. And in football, I think we're missing people that give everything for the badge. But in terms of quality, and I think sometimes in football you've got to be ruthless and go, look. And I hate to use, in terms of Tottenham, this example, but using Arsenal, if you want to get there, where you're now season after season at the moment anyway, competing for titles, even if you're not quite getting there, because they could this year, unfortunately, you've got to get to that level, and you don't if you just go Richarlison, nice guy, he's going to have one good game in 6. Keep you here. You just can't be like that. You've got to go, look, let's be ruthless. Sorry, but off you go. And the reality is 50 million on a striker like him, money could have been spent better elsewhere. And that's the thing with Tottenham. And rival fans, will look at Tottenham and go, what are you moaning about? The money's been spent. If I say to them, record club transfer and Ndombele, not much less for Lo Celso, Sessegnon, and like with Ndombele, for example, we're talking 65 million, and we actually paid him to leave the club. Something like that's absolutely crazy when money's wasted. Richarlison, we're not going to get half back what we paid for him. So no, I wouldn't take him. You're more than welcome to have him, by the way.
Can I just say, we haven't said anything, right? I've just looked at him. He's looked at me, and I know exactly what he's thinking.
Are very similar.
It sounds like you're talking about Man United. And Richarlison sounds like he would fit in great beside Rashford and all those boys. But we've turned a corner, I believe. I believe we've turned a corner. Scott, how can Spurs? How do you think Spurs will think that they can cause United trouble?
Spurs can cause United problems, specifically in this game from set plays, because the Manchester United defence is not the old defence that it used to be. It's quite weak in areas and not as strong. But if we can get our forward line working, there's a lot of space behind that midfield of Man United. I mean, Casemiro, for the fantastic player that he is and has been, he's getting on in years. There's space there behind him. And if Man United play with him and the other Uruguayan, it means then that they've nobody coming forward because they're protecting their box. So if Man United are going to just play with the 1-6, let's say, in Casemiro, and let everybody else bomb forward, then that space in the middle ground is where we really need to capitalise this weekend. We really need to build on that and push hard in that area to get control of the game. And it basically turning the Man United midfield on itself, so that we are now facing the Man United defence face to face, rather than slinging in long balls from 30, 40 yards out, which have got to be extremely accurate. And at this moment in time, we do not have a striker who is let's call him an old-fashioned striker like Solanke, who has a bit of power, a bit of strength. He can hold up a ball. He can nudge defenders out the way. Our defenders, our forwards at this moment in time, are all quite lightweight and, okay, they're fast over the ground, Or we're not playing the passes in. We're not finding the passes. I don't think the movement between them is good enough yet to find each other. But I think that's where we will win it. We'll win it either through set plays, or if we can turn that Man United midfield over. That's where their space is, I would think.
I suppose maybe one player I'd like to ask about so far this season, new signing, is Xavi Simons. Like, I remember seeing him signing for Spurs back in August, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, how have Spurs pulled that off? Because, I mean, during the summer, I seen Xavi Simons as this sort of quality player, like world class potential, and to see a team like Spurs sign a player of that quality, I thought it was a real sign of ambition, and I thought like it definitely was a big sign of big things to come this season for Spurs. However, so far, I mean, I haven't watched Spurs too much, but I've seen bits from Spurs this season. I just haven't seen Xavi Simons really be too influential. So, I mean, I suppose my question is, how have you felt with Xavi Simons so far? Is he doing good? Do you think it's going to take time? What do you think about him, basically?
Well, I think both things with Xavi at the moment is he's new to the English league, so that's going to take time to work. He's got new teammates that he's trying to work in with. He's got new tactics that he's got to try and learn. And I think he's just trying to do too much sometimes, rather than play the simple pass. The simple pass is the easy one, but sometimes he's getting caught out, or he's under hitting his passes, especially going backwards. He's hitting under his passes a little bit. And I just think it's a confidence thing and just taking time to adapt to the league. What do you think, Harry?
I totally agree with you. I think you're spot on. It's the weight of the pass. I think Simons is one of those players that he works best off instincts. He's just thinking about things too much. Like the other day, it was Brighton, he come on, or the game after that as well, he had, I think against Newcastle, he's got 2 or 3 passes as options. So left-hand side, Tottenham had a double up, for example, on that side. He just thinks about it too much, and in the end goes backwards. That's the thing. It's not like, oh, we're still keeping the attack going. He actually will turn back and just think about keeping the ball, and often doesn't. So, and then like we saw against Chelsea, he stole Van der Ven short, and Concedo nicks Van der Ven. That for me, I didn't realise it at the time, but looking at it back, it's such a really poor pass. It's the difference between an okay team and a really good team. You know how you get that pass right, even though it's a 5-6 yard pass. It's the pace on it, where you play it. That's just the wrong time, wrong moment. But no, I think you both make really good points. I think Simons was a big sign. I think us Tottenham fans were really surprised because whenever we've signed top players, it's been right at the end of their kind of career, way past their best. A good example is Ivan Perisic, someone that would have been lovely to bring in just 5-10 years ago, but Tottenham leave it late. Simmons looks a bit different, but right now I think Tottenham will be looking for the receipt, and that's the reality. I think we need to give him time to embed and to come in, but at the same time, you can't be playing someone if they're not hitting this level, and you've got others that are performing better. At the same time, we know he'll come good with more minutes. So a genuine question is, do you put him on that left-hand side, get a chance to grow and almost earn his way into a number 10 role? It doesn't help that Tottenham are really short in attacking positions in quality, not in terms of depth, but we're really lacking, like I said, those goals, that quality, that firepower, the creativity, that kind edge, all these things that we're missing. So that's why Simmons finds himself in the team. But he comes on against Chelsea and he does get substituted. Yes, he does play a huge chunk of the game because in the 7th minute, I think it was, that Bergwijn had to come off injured. So it almost was like he started the game. But the point is, he still, as a substitute, was substituted. That's not just because of the minutes he's played. It's because he didn't have a positive impact on the game. So we like him, but he hasn't shown a lot yet. But I think we've got to be patient. You've got to have, like Florian Wirtz at Liverpool, such a comparable situation. I don't think it's a Bundesliga thing. I don't think it's a Germany thing, because we've seen, look, Nick Waltermader from Newcastle's come in and hit the ground running. But there is something about number 10s that come from the Bundesliga that just find it hard to adapt, I think, with the pace and physicality of the Premier League, because Simmons has spent a lot of time on the floor, so it just needs time to adjust. Hopefully it come over time.
Yeah, I think you can even see that with United and Shesko. And he is a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a big physical guy. But you can see it's going to take time to adapt. I think that we've said it before in previous weeks, the Premier League's just another level up. And sometimes, you just need a few weeks or a couple of months to really embed. But I think for Simmons, I remember thinking this about in the past, the United players, you need to be given a run in the team, for those players, and that'll create confidence, and if he knows he's going to start, that'll give him the confidence to drive on for you. So hopefully not Saturday morning, but.
So I was before you guys came on, I had been looking up some just looking up Spurs information online, and I'd seen this stat, and I didn't actually believe it was right. But Harry, you kind of said it was right there. About Spurs only win 3 league of 19 home games.
Mm.
That's serious. Yeah, but we're probably not much better, are we?
Uh,
Well, I suppose we've won a couple now recently, but
yeah.
before that,
Repeat this season.
yeah,
so.
before that, yeah. Well, it's actually kind of depressing how similar. Listening to the two of you talking, like I'll be honest, like I mean, I have slagged my mates that are Spurs fans for years and years and years, and it's kind of a bit depressing, like to be honest. But anyway, it is interesting to see. Harry, how do you think this weekend will go? Like, what we always ask for predictions here. Now, last week when we asked this, Killian gave 3 different options. One was United win, United could lose, or a draw, and we made him get off the fence. So I'm going to be asking you guys
He's
for.
a clever man. Then he got one of them right.
He did. I'm in fairness, we credited him tonight. Like, but no, I need a prediction from you guys now, and no sitting on the fence. So yeah, it was. What do you think?
I think it's going to be tough because, like, well, I was originally feeling okay about it, but then we found out that Bergvall got that concussion, so he's missing 2 games just through the protocols, which I know people moan about that, but it's totally right. He's rightly come off. He didn't look right, didn't pass that test, so he's out. Spence is out with a knock, likely, and Kudus is also likely out, and he's been our best player. Scott's right, set piece and Kudus is the only way we look like scoring, and if we lose Kudus, that's losing 50% of it. I think United's turning form was really interesting under Amorim. I looked at United when I just see someone that's a really good manager. Is he right for the Premier League? Really stubborn in this kind of formation. He won't flex. He reminds me so much of Ange, but in a different way. Die on that hill. This is my formation. You're playing here. We could have half the team injured. This is the formation. If you don't like it, well, get on with it. That's the way that Amorim approaches it. I like it, but you know how to play him in a way. Beating him in is another thing. So United, I think, I really do think you've turned a corner. I don't see you losing many games from now to the end of the year. I don't think necessarily you'll be winning every week, but I think you've just almost installed this difficult to beat about you really quickly, which is interesting. Someone like Casemiro has gone from here to here, which is really interesting, both in terms of protecting the defence and also on the ball and offering something going forward. The only thing I would say is Bruno Fernandes, for me, I'd like to see him a little bit higher. That's the only thing I would say is better for me further forward. Know more than me on that. But score prediction, I'm going around the corner here. I think a draw. I think both teams that look at it and go, we want to win before the international break. It's typical, isn't it, that doesn't happen for either side. Tottenham know that the record before the international break isn't fantastic, although it looks better this year. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. I think Sesko will score. You mentioned him for Man United, a player, as you said, only going to get better week by week. He's going to make a big difference. Like Arsenal with Gyökeres. We saw it against Burnley, and I know it is only Burnley. He is involved more than ever he has been this year. So number 9s are going to be the difference, between, let's say, getting top 6 or finishing 8th. If someone like United, I think it could be really big. Yeah, 1-1 for me. I think Simons will score for Tottenham. So 2 players that found it difficult this season, I think, will score. So I'm going to say a draw. But I'm interested, if you've got time to answer, if you'd be happy with a draw. Of course, context is vital.
I take a draw now. I have no problem with that.
I wouldn't mind a draw. I mean, I'll be ambitious, obviously, want to get a win, but I mean, a draw wouldn't be a bad result away against Spurs. I mean, we are forgetting, we haven't beat Spurs in, I think, 3 years now, which is an insane stat. Wow. So we do struggle. So, I mean, a draw wouldn't be the worst result at the end of the day.
Okay.
I'm tired of being mediocre, and I'm refusing. I've seen something recently in results, so I wouldn't. I mean, we were watching the Forest game at the weekend there together, and we were 2-1 down, and Gags was saying, I would take a draw now, and there was still 20 minutes left. I was like, no, it's not good enough. I'm sick of not being the Manchester United that I remember, and at some stage we have to say, no, we have to go and win. So if I was going going to Spurs and going and saying, oh, take a draw, there's no excitement in that. So we have to go and win. And I'm actually taking a bit of comfort from what you're saying, in the sense that you're not getting shots, which is going to be helpful for us. And I think our 3 forwards, although the last weekend's game wasn't overly inspiring, Cunha's been a breath of fresh air at United, and Mbeumo as well. And I think Sesko, I was looking at the stats there. He got 3 shots on Saturday. And I thought that was a bit poor, but then when I looked at what do you call the Arsenal guy?
Gyökeres.
He only had 1 shot on target, so it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's not. So Why not? Why not? I'm an optimist. Somehow I'm still an optimist about United, so I'm going to predict a draw.
That's all that.
No, I gotta predict. I'm gonna predict a 2-1 win for United, but I don't really feel overly.
Interesting.
Scott, what's yours?
Well, mine's I'm thinking of what we've done in the last 5 games at home against Manchester United. We're unbeaten. 5 games in a row, we're unbeaten against Manchester United at home. And I think for Man United, the worst thing that could have happened this weekend was Tottenham getting beaten again from Chelsea and not having any shots on goals. So the players this weekend, I think, are going to have to come to the stadium. They're going to have to show a bit of fight. They're going to have to show something. Now, we have this game midweek that you guys granted us by deciding to lose the cup final. So, depending on any injuries that we don't need from that, as long as we can get through that game okay, I think I'll stick with the 2-1 Tottenham. I think I'll stick with the 2-1 Tottenham.
Who are you playing midweek?
Copenhagen.
And is it at home or away?
It's at home as well.
Is it at home?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is that on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
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 Okay, tomorrow night. Okay.
Killian,
But it's
what
just
do you
the
think?
fact that it's 5 games in a row at home, and as I say, it's not a free flowing Man United side either. You have you've three or four very good forward players, but the rest of the team behind it is not so strong. So I think that gives me hope in saying that our defence is strong, your forward line is strong, so it's going to be played in that third of the pitch where it's your midfield and our forwards. Basically, I think is where it's won and lost, in my opinion.
Killian, what do you think?
Well, I'm not going to sit in the fence this week.
Good
I'm
man.
just going to go out there and say, as much as I'd love to see us win,
We're gonna get beat.
I'm going to go for a draw. I mean, it is insane to think we haven't won at the Tottenham Stadium. I mean, last time we won there, we had Ronaldo in the score sheet. We had Cavani in the pitch and all. But I think a draw here in this one. I think, as you said, Scott, Spurs, after an embarrassing display, pretty much against Chelsea, they're going to need to come to the stadium with a bit of fight about them. They're going to need to score a few goals, and I think they more than likely will do that, considering their record against United too, and I think United as well. We still do have goals in this. Of course, we're playing some good football at times. I think we can score goals here in this one. I was sort of thinking about a 0-0, but I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here in this one. I think it'll be high enough scoring, entertaining, but probably a fair result.
What's your thoughts on is there tension in the dressing room? Just with Thomas Frank and who was it, Van de Ven and
Spence?
Yeah, coming off. Is there?
No, I don't think
No.
so. I think that's more just frustration from the players of having a poor game. I mean, Mickey's blaming himself for the pass that he didn't collect from Xavi and didn't deal with it correctly, and he came off very unhappy. And Spence the same. I mean, I know Thomas wants them to go and say thank you to the fans for turning up. I can understand as a player also why you would just want to get off that pitch and go, get me out of here just now, because it's not a good feeling. You're going to applaud people who just want to go, you didn't do your best today, you didn't try hard enough. That's where I think that one lies. I don't think it's anything other than just frustration.
I'm hoping Harry has a completely different view on it.
Well, I was sorry to disappoint, but I do agree with Scott. But I would say that Van de Ven was, given the captain's armband in Romero's absence, I don't think a captain on that stage, in front of the fans, in front of an audience, should be blanking your manager completely. And I don't think you should be not saying anything to the fans, because look, I think you could be frustrated, but also even head down, say thank you to the fans. I think there's that balance. And I do think it is just frustration. To start with, I saw it and thought, what's going on here? Has he lost the dressing room? But if you look at it a little bit more, but it just doesn't look good. Even like Jed Spence, you've got him going doing all of that to Frank and to clearly shouting at things. It doesn't look good. And I just think, in any other profession, let's be honest here, you couldn't be able to get away with that. I talked to someone earlier on my podcast, and imagine you sitting around the boardroom and you're just going, stuff you, boss, or, sod you, and, forget you fans or anyone that's backing my kind of project or idea, you just wouldn't be able to get away with it. So I think, well, Frank said that they come in and apologise. He doesn't see it as a big issue, but we can't get to the point where players think they're above the manager. Because no player's bigger than the club. You know, United fans, you've been saying that, haven't you, a lot of times, whether it be Rashford or Sancho. It's the same thing, I think, with a lot of clubs. No player's bigger than the club. So disappointed in both of them. If I'm honest with you, I wouldn't play Van de Ven against Copenhagen. For me, it is that much of a thing. But if Frank doesn't see it as that, then, you know, it is his choice. But it's not something I want to see. But frustrations there as a player, you want to get off the pitch. You know, we would all play football at some level, even, you know, low level. We want to get off the pitch and the result hasn't gone our way or we've made a mistake. Because the reality is both those players have been great for us this season, as Frank said, but put in two really bad performances, and both were at fault for the goal we conceded. So two sides to it, but I don't think the dressing room's collapsing yet. It shouldn't do, because Frank has done a great job overall.
Did Van de Ven take his captain's armband off and throw it as he was going down the tunnel?
Is that not Spence?
No, Romero
Spence-
was on the
Spence
pitch when he was
threw-
captain.
Oh, okay.
Aye.
There was something black. Maybe they were wearing.
Yeah, it was
some-
Yeah.
Spence through some sort of thing.
That's
like
It
that.
might have been.
Spence has a strap on his arm. I did look at that and I thought, hang on,
Aye.
what was that? But when you see it, but no, you're absolutely right to pick that up. But no, it was luckily just a strap. Otherwise, yeah, I think we would be seeing some consequences and repercussions.
I'm just trying to cause disruption in your
Yeah,
squad
don't
there.
blame me. Love it.
This fan base is fragile enough. Don't do that.
It is, yeah. It doesn't take much.
Okay, guys, we'll wrap it up there for tonight.
100%.
What time of this, boys? Will you come on next Monday night with us?
Certainly will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, win, lose or draw now. Like
Win,
if
win,
United-
lose or draw. We're
Win,
all
lose
the
or draw.
Spurs.
Exactly.
Good
No,
man,
we
good
will.
man.
Thank you.
Well, listen, it was lovely chatting with you. It's really good to get that insight. And yeah, well, we'll see you on Saturday, and come on the Reds.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll see you on Monday.
All right,
guys.
boys. Talk to you next week.
See you later.
All the best.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So thank you very much to the two lads that are coming on tonight. That was really interesting, actually, and I definitely think we'd do that again. You know, having two fans on it was a really good dynamic. So yeah, look, if this is your first time watching the channel and you support a team that's not United or whatever, and you would like to get involved, just drop messages, send comments, or contact us through YouTube or over the winter, not the winter, sorry, the next international break. We're going to actually launch all our different socials. So we're going to have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. But in the meantime, if you're looking to contact us, just drop comments below on our YouTube page. But before we finish here today, we have to finish, as always, with Genius Corner. So Killian, have you any statistics of interest going into this weekend's game against Spurs?
Well, as always, so we're starting off every Genius Corner by looking at the previous 5 games the team are about to play, basically, and how they're doing currently on form. Past 5 games, I think it's safe to say that maybe the Thomas Frank honeymoon period of Spurs could be over and reality's starting to set in, because only one win in their past 5. Their last game, obviously, was a 1-0 victory, or 1-0 defeat, sorry, at home to Chelsea, and it was only 3 shots all game there in that one. A pretty embarrassing defeat there for Spurs last time out in the Premier League, and to put that performance in against their big London rivals too, definitely was not too much of a high moment there. In fact, probably one of the lowest moments they'll have all season. But before that game, they would experience a 2-0 defeat at St James's Park in the Carabao Cup to Newcastle, so they're out of the cup there too, which once again, that's just cops off what has been a pretty poor past week for Spurs. Before that then, they would get a 3-0 victory away to Everton, and on paper that looks like an extremely comfortable win. However, when you look at the stats and when you actually look at the highlights and the game as a whole, it actually was a lot less comfortable than you would think it was, because Everton actually were the dominant team there. It's just Spurs were much more clinical in the day there, but they still got 3 points at the end of the day. Before that then, it was a 0-0 draw away to Monaco in the Champions League, a match where Monaco were the dominant team in too, and before that then as well, they would lose 2-1 at home to Aston Villa. Might I add, that was a prediction on my channel, which I got 100% right there too, so just giving myself a wee bit of praise there, self-praise. So yeah, clearly at the minute, like, Spurs coming into this game not in the best form. However, However, one thing which is looking good for Spurs coming into this one is the head-to-head. Previous 5 matches, obviously unbeaten against us. 4 of those previous 5 matches came last season. Obviously, the infamous Europa League final in Bilbao was the most recent time we had to take on Spurs. But before the Europa League final, we would lose 1-0 away to them in the Premier League, 4-3 away to them in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals, and that, of course, embarrassing 3-0 home defeat there at Old Trafford in the very toxic day there as well. And then to finish off the previous 5 matches, we would draw 2-2 there. I think it was away from home, I'm not too sure there. But yeah, basically, our record against Spurs isn't great. And actually, as I did mention there previously, we haven't won against Spurs in 3 years. We haven't won away against Spurs in at least 4 years anyway, not since Ronaldo was in the team anyway. So yeah, it's really not a good streak there, obviously, against Spurs. We need to definitely fix that and get rid of the Spurs hoodoo. We got rid of the Anfield hoodoo a few weeks ago, so hopefully we can get rid of the Spurs hoodoo soon as well. And to finish off then with just 3 players I would like to point out to watch out for here in this one. I'll start off actually with the goalkeeper, Vicario, who in my opinion is probably the most underrated goalie in the Premier League this season. I mean, I just don't think he gets enough praise he deserves, of course, because anytime I watch him play, you know, yes, he maybe isn't the best goalkeeper in the league. However, he still is a very solid keeper. I really do like him. He makes plenty of good saves. He can make a good sweeper keeper at times as well. His distribution can also be pretty good too. And he can keep clean sheets from time to time again as well. So, in my opinion, Vicario, very underrated player. Definitely could be hard to put some goals past him. Mickey van de Ven, obviously, against Chelsea, he was probably to blame for the only goal of the match there last time out, but he still is an absolutely fantastic centre-back, in my opinion. Rapid, running up and down the pitch, obviously. Probably one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the league as well. And so, yeah, not on top of all that, he is a brilliant defender. Brood as well, of course, a real powerhouse at the back, similar enough to Matthias de Ligt in terms of his strength too. So, Mickey van de Ven as well, definitely a big player to watch out for in the back line. And I'll finish off then with a midfielder. He mightn't even start here in this one, but for me, he should be starting. It's Pape Sarr, and Scott mentioned him being a real, breath of fresh air for his energy in midfield, especially in home games. And I'd agree with him there, because I think Pape Sarr, anytime I watch him play, he is a fantastic player. He scored actually in a 3-0 victory away to Everton too. So yeah, I think if Spurs want to give themselves the best chance of winning this one, they need to maybe take out Bentancur here in this one, put Sarr in alongside Palhinha in midfield, and I think that midfielder definitely could do wonders against United.
Well, there you heard it there. Genius has spoken. So we're going to wrap it up there. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you again next week. Yeah, that's it. It's been a really good show. Thanks for coming, guys. And come on, the Reds. Let's finish. I hate international breaks, but let's finish with a win. And yeah, the table will look so much better, and that week off will be so much more enjoyable.
Go on, United.
Go on, the Reds.